from Infibeam. And can we have a round of applause to welcome our final presenter for the iMedia Brand Summit Goa?
Hi guys. Okay, so there are precisely about 4 people in this room who've already seen a part of this presentation. Right, so at the end of the presentation, if you feel tortured, think about those guys and feel happy. They're seeing it for the second time. I'm going to talk a little bit about pricing for e-commerce. What is the importance of pricing, how does it work, and a little more about marketing research and the kind of work we do in digital marketing, more towards research. Right, so how this all started. Right, in 2010, I started my own digital marketing agency, and what happened was my first client, he gave me a very tough challenge. He said that time the size of Facebook audience, Indian audience was very small. So he said he wants 10% of the Indian population to be his fans, his page's fans, in a space of 1 month. He said, do it, and then I'll extend your contract. Otherwise, sorry. Right, so I had to do it. I had to figure out a way. I had to think about what should I do. Right, and then I started learning. I started researching. I started looking at brands, what they were doing internationally, what they were doing in other developed regions where social media advertising was a little more evolved. And that's how I got into the research mode, the learning mode, and that is what. So this presentation is more about research. It is more about learning. It is more about the kind of insights that I have, and these are not mine. I haven't invented them. They're researched, so they are learned from others. They're experimented. They're tested. I can say that all of these work, right? But the idea of this presentation is I want to share a few insights with you. So I'll start with pricing, right? In e-commerce, I'm not talking about products which are very, very niche, but I'm talking about general e-commerce, the likes of guys like marketplaces, Amazon, Flipkart, Infibeam, Snapdeal, and so on, right? Where you have lots of products available. What is the importance of pricing over there? Now I have a single product which is available on all these sites, right? Where does the consumer go? It's not always the lowest price. Okay? That is a traditional model. That is still very relevant, but it is not always that. So here is something that came out as one of the experiments that we had done. Right? So we have a page which is called Deals page. Now over there we launched a product. Now the product was a very standard product. It was not something that was in huge demand. It was not something that was desired by everyone, but people wanted to buy that. And suddenly the sales shot up. We were all surprised what's happening, right? So then we realized that there's something peculiar about the pricing over here, and we realized that the pricing had some sort of a pattern, right? There was no name called rhythmic pricing and so on and so forth, but one of my team members said that there's something about this pricing. We again experimented. We said, let's try out 1515, let's try out 3434, let's try out these kind of numbers, and they all started working, right? So somehow we realized that numbers have something which is emotional about them, right? Numbers is not just a number, it is not just mathematical, it is not just scientific, it is also emotional. So what happens is that each and every number has a font associated with it, it has a color associated with it, it has a size associated with it, it has positioning, left side, right side, it has context, where is the number present and so on, and all that adds to a lot of emotion around the numbers. Right? So that's what we started playing around with pricing. Now in this example, so what all of us know is that today the consumer is very, very smart, right? He sees discounts everywhere. Now discount only is not enough for a sale to happen. What needs to happen is that a customer says, I have a discount. Some of the people will come and buy. Then what happens is that I say that the discount is there because it is Diwali time. More people will come and buy. Then I say, the company made huge profits and we respect our customers, we are grateful to them, and as a token of thanks, we want to give this discount. More people come and buy. So what you realize is that discount needs a reason. If there's a reason, more and more people will come and buy. Another thing that you notice in this example is that the two discounts, one on the left and one on the right, there's a small difference between them. One is an absolute number and one is a percentage. So what we said was, what should we promote? Should we promote 20% or should we promote 20 rupees? So what we realized is that the number has to be bigger, right? If 20% is bigger than 10 rupees, or if 20 rupees is bigger than 3%, always promote the number, because that has a bigger impact and that is what should be promoted. Another example that you see over here is the placement. 64 rupees is placed towards the left and 90.50 is placed towards the right. Again, the lower number is, the smaller number is always placed towards the left. That's what has worked for us. The bigger number is placed towards the right. That again has worked for us. There are more things in this, but I'll cover that in future slides. Now, what has happened is that customer has also become very, very logical. He says that he wants to justify every sale. Right? All of us want to justify our sales. I go, I purchase a shoe and I justify it because I'll be able to walk more comfortably. Everyone justifies the sale. Now what we said was, we want to justify it for the customer, because if we have justified it, he doesn't need to take the pain of justifying, he'll simply go and buy it. So we have this example. It's a fair price. That's what we call it. 24 hours delivery, monthly supply of 30 days, only a 70 rupees per month. Can any of you take a wild guess and say why this would be fair for a customer? 24 into 30 is 720. It's a simple calculation. Everyone thinks that, fine, it's logical, it's fair. Only if you go into the details, you realize that 24 hours delivery has got nothing to do with the price, the product, the anything. It is just that we are going to deliver it in 24 hours. And the mind connects so fast that it says that 24 into 30 is logical. Fine, it's a fair price. Another example. I don't know if you can read all of that, but you don't need to read. You just need to read the numbers, the price over there. Right here, it's the same Apple iPhone, and here it's the same Apple iPhone. Two different variants over there. Right? Now what happens is that when we place these products, right, people want a reason to buy. They say that over here it's a rose gold and a silver model, right? What should we buy? Should we buy that? And here it's a red and a gold model. What should we buy? What is better? How do you know what is better? Right? In a phone it's still easier because I can take a look at the color. In a car, I'm always sitting inside the car, right? So how does it matter whether it's a white car or grey car or blue car? It's external. Inside it's the same. So customer needs a differentiation. What we do is we give him a differentiation, small differentiation in terms of pricing. The red model is slightly overpriced as compared to the gold model. In the other example, there's no differentiation. Right? So two cases where here there's a differentiation price, here there's no differentiation price, and we want to play with that. What we see is that the sale ratio is this. 125 is to 75. If 125 people would buy this phone, given the same base, 75 people would buy from this selection. That is what again we've seen just because of a small differentiation in pricing. Pricing personality, right? Let me talk a little bit about this. Sorry. So what happens is that there are actually 3 levels which I'll talk about later in terms of communication, but here there are 2 levels essentially. One is a very logical level and second is an emotional level. In other words, it's either an analytical level or a look and feel, a feel-good level. There are 2 kinds of customers. One customer is very detail-oriented. He says, I want to buy a Dell Inspiron, I want to buy a laptop which has so much of GB, which has so much of RAM, which has so much of screen size, which has so much of this and that and processor and that, everything. He's very detail-oriented. There's another person who says, I want a sexy-looking laptop. I want a laptop that is blue, that is sleek, that looks good, that looks nice and so on. Right? Now, once we have identified this kind of a customer through various tools on our website, then we give them different pricing. The person who's very detail-oriented gets a detailed pricing, 53019. The person who is very simple, who's just focused on aesthetics and so on, gets a very simple pricing. And that is what really works for them. Here the conversions are much higher. Coming to the most important part of an e-commerce site. Right, here is where you make it or break it. Right? Here, if you look at this, this is for all those who have studied the sales funnel, I'll relate it to that. Right? what happens is, if you read line by line, you have 5 million customers, satisfied customers. So this says that on our website, we have 5 million satisfied customers. We have 50,800 customers who have viewed this product. We have the rating of this product is 11,343 on 13,500. Then there's a price, a rhythmic price 7575, and then the final discounted price of 6060. We have the buttons and so on, right? The objective of adding so many numbers, right? I have 5 million, I have 5 million, I have 50,000, I have 11,000, 13,000, so on, is I want to make 6060 look a very, very, very small number, a number which people will not care about, right? Otherwise, if you look at, I have to buy something worth 6,000 as a standalone number, it might look big. Here the number looks insignificant, that is what I want. The other thing which I've done is, the color of the number is red. This is something that you've noticed for males. Males prefer to buy when the pricing is in red. And there's a higher chance of conversion. And all this is backed by data, right? We keep on experimenting, we keep on checking what color is working, what size is working, even the size is smaller over here. Another thing which you would have noticed is that besides 6060, there's no rupee symbol. Rupee symbol is only there, right? Because we just want it to look like a number. We don't want it to look like, something that you have to pay out of your hard-earned money, right? Other things is that, if you look at on the right-hand side, you have the standard discount over there, 20% off, that's fine. You have only 3 units left. That is to create a sense of urgency, right? So, for example, if you shortlisted this product, if you like this product, then you would essentially want to buy it very quickly, right? Pay less than 6 rupees per day. Now, this means that the EMI, you buy EMI, 3 years EMI, the overall amount is much larger, but you want to make the amount very small for you. So, every day it's just 6 rupees that's coming out of your pocket. Right? Another way you create urgency is that on the left hand side, if you notice, order in the next 4 hours to get delivery by tomorrow 8 p.m. Right? So that is again urgency. That says that please go ahead and order now. Don't wait for the next day. This is a sales funnel. Right? What we try to do is we try to add the sales funnel on the product page. And then we have other things, simple things are added over here, 24 hours delivery, 3 years EMI, 0 maintenance, free replacement and so on. But this tends to give us the maximum conversion when it comes to adding to the cart. Now what happens is that when I started experimenting and playing around with all these pricing numbers, I realized that it's not just pricing, there's a lot more that can be researched and a lot more that can be documented. I started documenting a few things. First, so I formed a few rules because I didn't want to document the entire thing. The first rule that I had was, as a consumer, if I know that I'm being marketed to, I get put down. I don't want to see that. So I will focus only on those things where the consumer doesn't even know that he is being marketed to. And I have a few examples over here which I'll share with you guys. A very simple debate that happens in e-commerce business is, should I have the product first and then the pricing, or should I have the pricing first and then the product, right? So we also had this debate, right? We said that let's look at retail. What happens in retail? In retail, you have 2 types of stores. One is the Walmart kind of stores where you have products and then you have everything over there. Second is a dollar store where the price is fixed and then there are products in there. So you walk into Walmart, you pick up the products, you look at the pricing and then you purchase it. That's the purchase cycle. In a dollar store, you know the price first. You know it's going to cost you $1. You walk in there, then you select the product and then you purchase there. Now, coming to e-commerce, how do we implement that? We create pages. We create, 199 rupee stores, 599 rupee stores, 99 rupee stores, deal stores and so on, where the pricing comes first and then the product. So that essentially works over there. Another example. Now this is an interesting example. What happens is that I don't like, and none of us like, when a customer comes, he comes to us, he says that, so taking a very traditional example, he comes to my shop, he says, bhaiya ye dikhao, show me a sari, show me this, spends 2 hours and walks away. I don't like an irresponsible buyer. No one likes that as a marketer. So what I do is I want to make that buyer more and more responsible. How do I do that? A very simple example, all of you would have noticed this. when you've added cart, not on all the sites, but on some sites, when you've added product to a cart, you essentially get an SMS notification immediately saying that you have initiated a transaction, which means that you have committed now. There's a commitment made from the buyer. I didn't ask you to buy this product. I didn't ask you to add it to the cart. You added it. Please complete it now. So that's a subtle commitment that I've taken from the buyer, and now he would be bound to complete the transaction. I'm not saying all of them will still complete it, but many more will complete as compared to the previous ones. Another very simple example, it's lead generation. So you come to a site, right? You say that it's a step that you have to complete. It's steps, right? The first step is coming on the site. You've already completed that. You completed 50% already. Second step is fill up your email address. You're done with 100% done. It gives a sense of achievement, a very small achievement, but again increases your leads, increases the conversion rate. Another example, right? Customer loyalty programs, right? What is the simplest way to get customers come back to your website again and again? I'll tell that to you some other day. That's the answer, right? So you don't tell everything right now. One of the most famous movies which came in the last couple of years used the same approach. Any guesses? Bahubali, exactly, right? So I did not watch that movie initially. After 4 or 5 months, everyone is talking about the same question. The same question, Bahubali ne katpa kyun mara? And then I said, okay, fine, let me watch the movie, maybe there's a hint, maybe I can answer that question, maybe I'll find something, and then I'll go and tell my friends. Nothing, it was just a way to watch the movie and then everyone to watch the next movie, the part 2. It happens in all the television sitcoms, it happens in all the video series, it happens everywhere. How do we do it in e-commerce? Right, in e-commerce, essentially, or any online, we give exclusive offers. We say that next time you come, we'll have an exclusive offer to you. Don't give all the details, reveal some details. Right, next time if you buy this product, you're part of this. Next time if you come, you're part of a loyalty program. You're part of an exclusive club where there are discounts only for you. For example, Amazon has Prime. It says that Prime only sale. So it is only for loyal customers. So that is where you create repeat purchases. Conversion automation. Right? So what happens is that we have a lot of traffic on our website. We want to convert more and more of it. Right? So what we do is, there are millions of products on the site. How do I know which product should be on the top, which product should be bottom, which product should be where, and so on. So I do real-time conversion rate tracking. I say that on a given day, if a product is performing much better as compared to the previous days, I'll put it on top. Right? That is pricing based on real-time conversion rate. I will also change the pricing of that. Right? So if the product is doing very poor, I have a small range which my category team gives me. By about X percentage, you can play with the pricing. And then I can change the pricing and improve the conversion rate even more. Or the sales, whatever is the objective. Right? I can update the banner, the ad positions based on real-time CTR. Again, that's what we do on conversion rate optimization. Right? Now, what's the halo effect? The halo effect is that, so let me give you an example. So there's a person who's next to me and he's talking about marketing automation, right? He's telling me a lot of things. I asked his friend, who is he? He said, don't worry, he's just had a couple of drinks. I said, fine. After some time, he tells me that, but he's also the same person who's got a job in Microsoft, who's got a salary of $1.5 million, and he's going to fly and work directly with Bill Gates. My perception completely changes about that person, right? So halo effect is how do I create a perception in as less words as possible and then make the product much more appealing, right? So here, if you look at marketing research as #1 focus of world's leading organizations, and that is why I'm giving you a presentation, that's halo effect. And I just made it up. So I don't think it's true. Anyway, research journal. So second thing which I want to share is that, I want to track anything and everything which is measurable. I'm not saying that, the other side is wrong. I'm just saying that, my focus is because in digital you can track a lot of things, you can measure a lot of things, you can capture a lot of actions. I want to research more and more on things, on the activities or the experiments that actually are measured, that are tested, and then we can actually see how they work. Okay, so content marketing. Content marketing has evolved a lot, right? It has become completely scientific. These days, there are content marketers who are so good that they have come up with a formula for a title. It's an awesome title. So how do I write an awesome title where the article is read by hundreds and thousands and millions of people? The formula is awesome title is equal to number or a trigger word. Pick up that. Add an adjective, add a keyword, and add a promise. It's just like a standard recipe. Like for example, last time we learned plantar sponge. It is similar to that. So here's an example of how do you actually do it. 12 number, outstanding adjective, ways you can get a big promotion is the keyword in a month. And that is the promise. These kind of titles are there everywhere, right? And it is exactly the same. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm saying it works, right? It may be creative, may not be creative, that's a completely different side. We can look at it as individuals, but these are the kind of things that gets us more and more views, more and more customers, more and more traffic, and so on. Mass influence, right? Yesterday we were talking about psychology and how humans have started using psychology and so on, and Mr. Devdutt gave a great presentation on that. Right, some of the examples where this can be used. This session is valid for the next 7 minutes. Hope and fear. You guys remember that? This is fear. Very good example of fear. The price, availability can change after that. In simple words, complete the session or I'm going to shoot you. That's the kind of fear we want to put the customer to and force him to buy something. Here is an example of A/B testing. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you a lot of examples from varied sciences and marketing, because I just want to show that there's so much to explore, there's so much to research, there's so much to learn, and it's all a learning and sharing feeling for me, and I want to share that with all of you, right? So what happens is, when a customer comes from Google, I want to track what is the keyword he has used. I try to do that wherever possible, I track that. I also track what are the key search terms that he has used on the website. Now, I say that, for example, this person said that he wants to buy an iPhone Red. I'm again using iPhone as an example because we used it earlier. iPhone Red, that is a search term. But on the website, he comes and he searches for iPhone 7s. Now, I try to combine them, and first result should be iPhone 7s Red. Right? That is what I would try to do. Right? If they're completely different kind of searches, then I'll give priority to the website search because that is more relevant. Okay, this is interesting. I think some of you would have seen it. So this price works very, very magically well for us. Can anyone take a wild guess why this would work? Today's date, exactly, right? So these kind of things work, right? So it's the date, it's the colors, it's the size, it's the promotions, and so on, which make it very attractive. And at a certain level, we don't even realize as consumers that this is what is being promoted to us. Okay, here we are talking about irrational escalation. Now that is what happens with all of us as buyers, and as marketers we use it every day, right? So for example, I want to watch a tennis championship. I subscribe to a TV channel and I pay 250 rupees a month, right? Now when I've done that, at the end of it, I get a message saying that, why don't you pay just 600 rupees and subscribe to all the 10 sports channels? I'm very, very happy. I said, 250 into 1, I get one channel, 250 into 10, 2,500. They're giving me 600 rupees, I'm saving 1,900 rupees. What I don't realize is that the actual value for me of those 9 channels is not 2,250 rupees, it is actually 0. So instead of 250 rupees for one channel, I'm actually paying 600 rupees because I'm actually not going to watch the other channels anyway. That is called irrational escalation, and that is what we marketers use to get more and more sales. That's called repeat sales, right? Branding and communication, right? Now, I was talking earlier about logical and emotional. So I say that, I've read this and I've heard this and experimented this. There are only 3 levels of communication, right? It's logical, emotional, and aspirational, right? So logical, it's a sale, right? 50% off. That's logical level. Don't ask me where what is pointing. I know that's a good idea, but that's how it works, right? Emotional. Emotional is an emotional ad. So for example, all the jewelry ads, all the ring ads, right? Those are emotional ads or emotional communication. Aspirational is a brand like an Apple. Apple is not so aspirational now, but maybe 2-3 years back, when very few people had it, that was an aspirational brand. So those are the only 3 levels where branding and communication happens. And I try to make sure that whenever a marketing message goes, whenever an advertising message goes, I know that what is being used in that, so that I know that what to expect. If it's a logical, then I know what are the sort of results that I'll expect. If it is aspirational, I know I have a different business goal. If it's emotional, then there's a business goal and a different set of TG who's going to get attracted by that message. Okay, so that's probably all. I don't have a lot to share. In fact, I mean in this presentation because of time. But what I essentially want to say is that nothing is zero-sum game. That is what I have believed whenever you research, right? Because zero-sum is always a win-lose kind of thing. One side wins, one side loses. In marketing research, you always learn something new. You always get something new, right? Even if you failed 100 times, even if you don't get the results, even if you wasted a lot of money, right? You've learned something, and that is what I try to do more and more, right? When I'm able to do it individually, I do it individually. Otherwise, I'm very open about it. I go to any platform, I ask for people to come and join me. You want to research, they come, they get interested, we form groups, we research on topics. I'm lucky enough to experiment a lot of these cases and see what works, share it with you guys. Because my objective is that, if we start researching, if we start finding, if we start learning new things, if we know what works, then it's not just you as an individual who's growing, but when you share it, we all marketers grow, we all as a community grow, and then we start offering much and much better to the customer, we offer much and much better to our companies, and we give much better results. So that's the summary, that's the presentation all about. Research more and more, learn more and more, experiment more and more, and share it with our community so that all of us can grow in digital marketing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arvind. We're just going to open the floor for questions, Mary.
Sure.
We're just going to check. Do we have any questions from the audience? Any questions? All right then, so on that note, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
All right, great. So with that, we come to the end of the sessions and the presentations. As you all know, I have one final voucher to be given. This is